You think you know how pain has changed you. You can list the obvious things. Maybe you're more careful now, or you trust less, or you need more time alone. But here's what nobody tells you. The deepest changes pain makes happen in places you're not even looking. They happen in the small, automatic decisions you make every single day without realizing you're making them at all. Pain doesn't announce itself like trauma does. It just quietly rearranges how you see the world, and then you start living in that new world like it was always this way. Think about the last time someone genuinely complimented you, not your work, but you as a person. Did you believe them? Or did some part of you immediately start explaining it away, finding the angle? That's not skepticism. That's pain that's been sitting in your system so long it's rewritten your ability to receive care. It feels like wisdom, but it's not. It's protection that's become so automatic you've mistaken it for personality. Here's another one. How many times this week have you downplayed something that actually hurt you? Someone canceled plans, interrupted you, forgot something that mattered. And what did you do? You said, "It's fine," before you even checked if it was fine. You did the emotional math in half a second. Is this worth bringing up? And you landed on silence. Not because you chose peace, but because some part of you has learned that your pain takes up too much space. This is what pain does when it moves in permanently. It stops feeling like pain and starts feeling like common sense. One of the most invisible changes pain creates is in how you experience time. If you've carried pain for long enough, you think constantly about the future. Not in an excited way, in a protective way. Always planning, always preparing, always 3 steps ahead of the next bad thing. But here's what's actually happening. You're not living in the present anymore. You're living in a version of the future where everything might go wrong, and your nervous system is treating that imagined future like it's already happening. So you're exhausted before anything's even occurred. You're with someone you love, laughing, everything is good. But you can't fully land in that moment because some part of you is already calculating when it will end, how it will hurt. That's pain changing your relationship with time. You think you're being prepared. You're actually being stolen from. Pain also changes what you think you deserve. It's in the opportunities you don't apply for because you've decided you're not quite qualified enough. It's in the relationships where you stay just a little smaller than you need to be. It's in the way you celebrate your wins quietly because announcing them might invite criticism. You've made yourself compact, digestible, and you don't even realize it's a survival strategy anymore. You think it's humility. When was the last time you let yourself want something without immediately attaching a backup plan, without building in an exit strategy? Pain teaches you to want less intensely, to hope less openly, and it tells you that's maturity, but it's not. It's just pain convincing you that protecting yourself from future hurt is more important than actually living. There's something else pain does that almost no one talks about. It puts a ceiling on your joy. You can still feel happy, but only to a certain point. Past that, something kicks in. A voice that says, "This is too good to be true," or "Don't get too comfortable." So you cap your own joy before it gets too big, before it makes you vulnerable. You tell yourself you're being balanced. You're actually being afraid. Here's where it gets complicated. Pain changes how you relate to other people's pain. Someone tells you they're struggling, and before you can stop yourself, you're measuring their pain against yours. Are they really suffering, or are they being dramatic? You don't do this consciously, but pain creates a hierarchy in your mind. I got through it, so they should too. Or worse, I didn't get to fall apart, so why should they? That's just your own pain demanding that you justify how hard you had to be. And here's the part that's going to sting. Pain changes how safe you are for other people. You can go long stretches without reaching out. You can let silence stretch between you and someone you care about because you're used to being alone with hard things. You don't think of it as withdrawal. It just feels like independence. But to them, it feels like abandonment. You've forgotten that most people need reassurance more frequently than you do. Your pain has made you so self-sufficient that you accidentally communicate you don't need anyone. Pain also changes what you consider an overreaction. Smaller problems start to feel insulting. Someone complains about something minor, and you feel this flash of irritation. Some part of you has decided that only big pain counts. And the cruelest part? You do this to yourself too. You dismiss your own smaller frustrations because they don't meet the threshold of what you've survived. So you just keep swallowing things until one day something small breaks you. Here's what's really happening. Pain has recalibrated your emotional scale. Things that used to feel difficult now feel manageable because you've been through worse. At first, that feels like strength. But it's not. You're not stronger. You're just more numb. One of the most unexpected ways pain changes you is in how you talk to yourself. You become your own drill sergeant. You tell yourself, you've been through worse and just push through. But here's what you're actually doing. You're using your past pain as evidence that you shouldn't need help with your present pain. That voice that sounds like resilience, it's actually just pain that's learned to sound like strength. You also start avoiding things that remind you of who you used to be. Maybe you used to paint, or trust people easily, or laugh without calculating. And now those things feel dangerous, because engaging with them means acknowledging how much you've changed. So you quietly stop. You tell yourself you've outgrown it. But the truth is simpler. Those things remind you of a version of yourself you're grieving, and you haven't admitted you're grieving yet. Pain changes how you interpret other people's intentions. Someone doesn't text back quickly, and you assume they're pulling away. A friend seems quiet, and you're certain you did something wrong. You're not paranoid. Your nervous system just learned that bad things happen suddenly, so you look for signs everywhere. You read into pauses, analyze tone, and most of the time you're wrong. But you can't stop because the one time you didn't see it coming, it destroyed you. Here's the truth. Nobody wants to say out loud, pain makes you harder to love. Not because you're unlovable, but because you've made it difficult to reach you. You've built protection that makes sense to you, but looks like walls to everyone else. You test people, wait for them to fail, and when they do something human, you use it as evidence you were right not to trust them. Pain has convinced you that being wrong about someone's goodness is more dangerous than being right about their capacity to hurt you. Let me tell you what's really going on. Pain doesn't just change specific behaviors, it changes your operating system, the way you make decisions, the way you interpret the world, the way you protect yourself. It all gets filtered through a system built in response to harm. The system works. It keeps you safe, but it also keeps you small and scared and alone. The hardest part is you can't just decide to change it. You can know you're safe now, that not everyone will hurt you, and still feel your body brace when someone gets close. Because pain doesn't live in your thoughts. It lives in your nervous system. And your nervous system doesn't care what you know. It only cares what it's learned. So what do? You start by noticing. Not fixing, just noticing. You notice when you're downplaying something that hurt. When you're testing someone who hasn't given you a reason to. When you're bracing for disaster instead of being in a moment that's actually okay. You don't judge yourself, you just notice. Oh, there it is, that's the pain making a decision for me, and that tiny recognition creates space. Not enough to break the pattern yet, but enough to realize this automatic response isn't your only option. You have to let the people who love you see you struggling. Actually struggling. By saying, actually, that did bother me instead of, it's fine. By admitting, I don't know what to do here, instead of pretending you've got it handled. And you have to make space for grief. Real grief. Acknowledging what you lost. The version of yourself that existed before the pain. The ease you used to have. The openness. You don't have to get those things back. That might not be possible. But you have to let yourself feel the weight of their absence. Here's what I want you to understand. Pain has changed you in ways you're still discovering. Some changes have made you more aware, maybe more compassionate, but some have made you smaller than you need to be, less connected than you want to be. And you're allowed to say both. You're allowed to say, this helped me survive and also it's costing me my life. You're not broken. You're someone who adapted to pain in the ways you knew how, and now those adaptations are bumping up against your desire for something more than survival. That's not weakness. That's growth trying to happen. And once you see it, you can start to make different choices. That's the beginning of seeing the water you've been swimming in. After everything we've seen, feel free to leave in the comments what you most identify with. Subscribe to receive more content with topics like this. See you next time.